Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of The Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director, Jiminy Christmas, of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Joining me today, Rob Morse, Self-Defense Gun Stories, who hopefully can talk better than I can today. Rob, thanks for coming along today, man.
That varies day to day, Paul. It's always an experiment.
I'm telling you. I am telling you. I want to let everybody know as we get going, this is actually live, unlike this morning where we did a recording that was live for the recording, and so we got comments in, but is actually going to air tomorrow. This is the live show for today. So if you're watching on the Polite Society podcast, Facebook, or YouTube feeds, go ahead and comment there. We'll get your comments. We'll put them on the air. We'll talk about them. If you're watching anywhere else, go to Twitter, tweet with the hashtag #TheBullet. Rob, we've got a lot of stuff to do today. First up, let me go over to show notes here and make them bigger so my old eyes can see them. And
you want me to jump in on Illinois?
Yeah, well, and one more thing, I just noticed my note to myself. If you're watching us, no matter where you're watching us, go to Rumble and search for Paul Lathrop. Once you get to my feed, you'll see a whole bunch of these, and you'll see some Polite Society podcast. You'll see some On the Target Radio. If you would, please subscribe on Rumble. Once we hit 25 subscribers on Rumble, I can, without paying for it, I can broadcast live there as well, rather than uploading and getting it seen whenever. So anyway, yeah, Rob, would you mind starting off? We've got a SAF release, and we're suing Illinois.
I know our listeners are shocked. Given the latest gun ban in Illinois, we're shocked that they're being sued by actually just about everyone. This is SAF's turn. They filed a federal lawsuit challenging the recently signed Illinois gun ban legislation. They allege it to be unconstitutional and assert that the state has criminalized a common and important means of self-defense. The case is known as Harold v. Rule. Joining SAF are lots of folks: Illinois State Rifle Association, Firearms Policy Coalition, 2 gun stores in Illinois, and a private citizen. Illinois has banned the future sale, the importation, the purchase, delivery, and manufacture of the most popular rifle in the United States, along with standard capacity magazines for that rifle. People who already own such rifles now must register their guns with the state police. The ban violates the constitutional right of Illinois gun owners, and we intend to prove it in court. Close quote. Again, quoting SAF, Illinois lawmakers are scapegoating firearms and the people who own them in a transparent attempt to convince people that they're doing something about the horrible violence in the state, especially in cities like Chicago. In reality, this is an effort to distract the public from the fact that these same lawmakers have been unable or unwilling to crack down on the criminals who are responsible for violent crime. Close quote. There are lots of modern semi-automatic firearms that are banned under this new law. They've all been tagged, pushed into the heading of assault weapons, which they're not. Mm-hmm. You know, as what I love what Tom said the other day. He goes, "When I was a law enforcement officer, this was my patrol rifle. When I came home with it, how did it become an assault weapon?"
Yeah. Yeah, that was on Saturday's episode, Weekend Bullet. Yeah.
But Paul, I think there's enough outside of Illinois media that's saying you've turned Chicago into a hellhole. I use that term because I think we can use that without getting pitched off of other outlets. and they need an excuse. They can't say, "Oh, all our policies failed." Heck, what? They're going to give up their political power? No, they're going to blame the innocent. They need a scapegoat. You're it.
Yeah. Let me get a comment in here real quick, because this is speaking directly to what we're talking about. Let me get this up here. There we go. Taxpayers have to get involved in these wasteful and unconstitutional laws. Hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars is wasted just because they decide to throw a tantrum and put up a roadblock we need to clear.
Yep. Thank you, Jack.
And let me get this one in too. Register criminals, not law-abiding gun owners. I'd say keep them locked up. Keep the violent people locked up for the maximum allowed time for that sentence, and watch your crime rates drop precipitously.
Michael, California is now seeing cartel-style mass murders inland, far away from the border. I wonder if that will finally make people go, "Oh, you mean we invited the cartels inland?" Yes, honey, you did. Elections have consequences. I understand that a lot of Illinois is red. Well, if enough of you were voting red, we wouldn't have this problem. So, yeah, they just have to stew in their own juices, I guess.
Well, and let's. Unfortunately, there's two ways I want to go here. First way is this: Illinois is north of 90% area-wise red.
Right.
I'm going to say north of 95% red.
Right.
Unfortunately, Chicago kind of has the population block to overrule a lot of good people.
It's purple around Springfield, too.
Yeah, it is. It is. Take heart, though, because in a story here in a little bit, there's a lot of lawsuits flying about this. So, and not just SAF. So,
before we turn this into the Illinois podcast, I saw something that caught my eye from New York. Can we go there for just a minute?
yes, please.
All right.
I've been itching to talk about this one since yesterday.
Oh, and to me, it's because there are great armed defenders everywhere. In this case, a good guy with a gun stopped an alleged knife-wielding attacker at Applebee's, ordinary as can be, 7 p.m. Saturday in upstate New York. The alleged attacker had been asked to leave the restaurant on an earlier visit for disorderly behavior. He was asked to leave again. As he was being escorted out, he attacked the staff, ran toward the bar, arms himself with a knife, and slashes somebody. While staff was attempting to gain control of the situation, one staff member suffered a laceration to his face from the attacker swinging the knife. A second Applebee's staff member also had non-life-threatening injuries. That's when the patron puts a stop to it. Was a shot fired?
No, there was no shots fired.
What you and I wonder, Paul, is this a little bit like, well, two issues. Is Applebee's posted no guns allowed like Waffle House used to be? Also, now with these crazy laws, did they have to post guns welcome, or anybody carrying would have become an instant felon? On the other hand, this is upstate. I don't think the sheriff is going to prosecute.
I think you're right. I do not think this guy is going to get prosecuted because it is upstate. And they would have had to express, that particular Applebee's would have had to have had signs up expressly saying guns and concealed carry are allowed here. I doubt those signs were up.
Right.
So,
comments, or do we want to go back to Illinois?
let me get this one up. This from Jack Need on the Facebook side. Yes, good happy ending story. We need more New York CCW holders to just carry. I carry everywhere. To hell with Hochul. Let's see what they do about this hero from Applebee's. Yeah, that would be an extremely tough prosecution. Technically, maybe not, but politically, that's a death knell. That's career suicide for whatever prosecutor decides to take that one up.
Well, and we need enough of those so that Hochul rolls.
Yes.
And, isn't it, Jack, if all the gun owners in New Jersey had voted, we wouldn't have Murphy. If the gun owners in New York State had voted, we wouldn't have Hochul. And look what we have. So, carrying everywhere, God bless you, that's the hard way to do it. I wish we'd done it the easy way when we had the chance. Now we have to do it in the courts. That's slow at best.
Absolutely, it's slow at best. Let's actually talk about courts a little bit, and let's go back to Illinois. Next story, the Illinois Attorney General says the new assault weapon ban will be enforced. With sheriffs saying that they won't, and this is a story off AdvantageNews.com, with sheriffs saying they will not enforce Illinois' gun ban and registry. State's Attorney General says there are ways to do the job. Gun owners' rights groups are collecting plaintiffs to sue. Governor J.B. Pritzker signed Illinois' gun ban and registry that prohibits the future sale of certain semi-automatic guns and magazines over a certain capacity. Grandfathered guns would need to be registered with the Illinois State Police by the end of the year. Sheriffs and state's attorneys from across the state have said they won't enforce a gun ban and registry, saying it violates Illinoisans' rights in the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Attorney General Kwame Raoul said Friday, if the local law enforcement won't act, someone will. Quote, as law enforcement agencies, there's overlapping jurisdiction as well. So if they don't do their jobs, there are people there to do the job, Raoul said. Rob, how many... I'm wondering how many state police are in Illinois?
Oh, maybe, most 1,000? Paul, what I'm wondering, particularly the guys in the local barracks, okay? They do not want to get crossways. I mean, I'm describing their emotions here. They know, they're positive, they do not want to antagonize the local sheriff and the local county prosecutors.
Oh yeah.
What, you're gonna take a traffic stop to state court? Not hardly. On top of that, one of the brave things, and I have to admire them for them, many state police really are alone. They're headed someplace at the edges of the county where deputies may be a long way away. They often have to act without backup. You get crosswise with the local sheriff and PD, you will not get backup. Now, does the Attorney General care? I think somebody may have to explain the facts of life to him.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We're continuing to get great comments in. Let me jump to a couple of them. Going back to Jack over on the Facebook side, talking about New York, I've seen one of those carry signs allowed, just one. It was a Tractor Supply. That doesn't shock me at all, is that Tractor Supply would post up concealed carry allowed. Matter of fact, I think they may even put up concealed carry encouraged. So, if it weren't, Jack, your point, just like Waffle House, enough people said, y'all should put up a sign, otherwise I'm not going to buy and sell here. Yep.
That'll work.
Get one in from Gerald. He says a lot of gun owners are, I would say most, he says a lot of gun owners are independent people, not usually found in groups, and commonly prefer not to be around all the BS. We need to get some, we get them to vote, I think is what he's trying to say.
Gerald, spot on. On the other hand, I've known a lot of gun owners who just like to complain. Sorry, partner. And I think you've seen them too. The NRA wasn't pure enough for them. No one was pure enough for them. Therefore, they did nothing. Okay, you've got new legal tools available. Start dropping a couple. I tell you what, if more gunners dropped $1,000 a month on the SAF, we'd have our rights back in a hurry.
Well, and I don't even think it would take that. I think if a large number of gun owners would drop $50 to $100 a month, that would make a huge difference.
You think we'd run out of lawyers, Paul?
No. Well, and let's go back to if we get, which I pray we do, and I don't think it'll happen for at least 2 years, but should we get what we talked about Saturday, national reciprocity on a federal level? If we get that, do you think we'll run out of firearms trainers?
No.
Same thing is because everybody's going to want a concealed carry permit for reciprocity. Same thing, I think, applies. A lot of people would become firearms trainers and certified for their state classes. I think a lot of that would happen for the carry. And honestly, there are law schools graduating students all the time. If Second Amendment law became sexy, a lot of attorneys would all of a sudden, I want to practice Second Amendment law.
I want to put a piece of really great news here, and it's peripheral. Right now, you and I, as instructors, can't go to a range and say, I'd like to put on a class this year in New Jersey because they're full.
Yeah.
Every weekend, every evening, there's instructors. The place is full. They're looking to expand. And that was the pent-up demand in a state where politicians said time after time, nobody wants to carry here.
Well, great point from Billy over on the Facebook side. Let me get this one in. One issue is anti-gun lawyers work pro bono. Here in Delaware, the Moms Demand Group has several lawyers working for them, all free of charge. A lot of pro-rights attorneys work pro bono too. Unfortunately, that's not all the cost of a legal case. There's a ton of cost that doesn't involve the lawyer's fees. There's filing fees. There's paperwork. There's all kinds of stuff. And oh, by the way, the lawyer might work for free, but he cannot have his staff. He cannot pledge for them to work for free. Staff still has to be paid. So, yeah, it's.
Shall we talk about the other assault?
Oh, you froze up, Rob. Until he comes back, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm gonna take it from here. There are 2 state-level lawsuits, as well as the SAF lawsuit, that are active in Illinois. Got this one off ABC 7 Chicago. There's an emergency hearing on Wednesday on an attempt to stop the new Illinois assault weapons ban from being enforced. 2 lawsuits have now been filed. There are legal oppositions to Illinois' new ban on assault weapons. One is in Effingham County, one is in Crawford County, and those are just state-level lawsuits. This is expected to be, let me go ahead and switch this here. This is expected to be a lengthy legal process, as other lawsuits are expected to be filed. The Effingham County case, the attorney said the lawsuit is more about the way this law was adopted, saying it's also unconstitutional. I'm going to go ahead and leave that there, but besides SAF's suit on the federal side, there are also at least two on the county side that are active, and or on the state side that are active in two counties, and we'll see what goes from those. I expected more in the inside the state. We'll see. I know there are others on the national level that are looking. I know for a fact GOA is looking at suing Illinois. FPC joined us in our lawsuit. So I do not know what NRA is doing, if anything. So we'll have to see going forward what's going on with that. Let me check here. Rob is having problems. There he comes. Rob, we got you back. I just read off that second story about Illinois, the two state level lawsuits.
Right. And one of them is by the guy who ran for governor. So that's some pretty high-powered political opposition. Yes, you may own Chicago. It's a Democrat-controlled state. There are a lot of Republicans there. Downstate is majority red. Wow, what is...
Yeah. And I want to shoot right into the next story, simply because the governor doesn't think he owns just Chicago. And Rob, I think, froze up again. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker's assault weapons ban was signed into law last Wednesday and had gun owners up in arms about the move they claim is an unconstitutional violation. The Protect Illinois Communities Act effectively bans manufacture and ownership of high-capacity ammunition magazines as well as firearms deemed assault weapons, and has come under fire from sheriffs across the state who voiced that they are not going to enforce the policy on the people. Going down in the story a little more, this is an outright assault on our constitutional rights, Val Finnell, National Director in State and Local Affairs for Gun Owners of America, told Fox News Digital. Sheriffs are constitutional officers. They're elected by the people. They take an oath, swear an oath to the Constitution of the state, the United States Constitution, to uphold it. If they believe that those laws are unconstitutional, they're morally obligated not to enforce those laws. We are fully supporters of the sheriffs in Illinois who will not enforce the law. Pritzker, what's he doing? He is threatening the sheriffs who've said, I'm not going to enforce this. It's unconstitutional. Pritzker is basically saying, I'll replace you, without actually looking in and saying and seeing that he can't. The governor is not the boss of. The governor is not. And here he comes again, Rob. We're in and out. It's almost like my dogs. You're here, you're not here. My dogs want out, they want back in, they want out. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
No worries at all. It's life in the digital age, man. It's life in the digital age. Pritzker says he's going to fire the sheriffs if they don't enforce his law. And he kind of forgot that he can't do that.
But imagine a guy who has such hubris, such arrogance that you think you can fire another elected official with whom you disagree. What, you're going to go fire state representatives, state legislators with whom you disagree, they're elected, Governor. Perhaps they've got more support than you do. Wow.
I would say in each county they probably do. Well, possibly not in Cook County, but all of the other counties, I would say they have a lot more support than the governor does.
Right. Yeah.
I was looking at sheriffs that have said they will not enforce the ban. Of course, Cook County Sheriff has not said that. And the sheriff for Springfield has not said.
Right.
But other than that, every other county has said, look, the sheriff has said, I'm not going to do this. So I think Pritzker's on the losing end of this one. He just doesn't realize it yet.
Didn't the Second Amendment sanctuary county movement start in Illinois?
I thought it started in Kentucky. Was it Kentucky or Virginia?
In any case, it is quite strong in Illinois. He'll carry the press. He'll carry the Chicago press. He'll carry the Springfield press. I don't think he's going to carry the press anywhere else. On the other hand, that it will put the rural press in an interesting light if the reporters go, do I want to follow the point of view of maybe my future boss when I try and move up the media chain into a big city? Or am I willing to offend my listeners by the thousands and get a talking to by my editor? Interesting call.
Yeah. This is our first this week. This is a SHOT Show story. Do you want to talk about it?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Put on your irony hat. In fact, maybe if it's got a chin strap, tie it tight. A Las Vegas casino says that allowing Kyle Rittenhouse to attend an event at their casino, actually it's in one of the meeting rooms off the restaurants, that's outside their corporate values. What they're really saying is some leftists protested and we rolled over. Recall, Vegas casinos are noted for excess drinking, gambling, prostitution. So it's a really strange statement coming from the management. They're too high-minded to allow someone who had legal self-defense to attend one of their restaurants. That's borderline insane. You need to know the names. The Venetian Casino canceled an event that Rittenhouse was attending because it didn't align with, quote, corporate values. This was a private reception. It was not open to the public. To me, that's amazing. And Paul pointed out something brilliant before. He goes, I bet they didn't release that statement that Rittenhouse was not allowed before thousands and thousands of SHOT Show attendees made reservations, many of them in the Venetian.
Yes.
I bet they won't make reservations there next year.
And I've been to SHOT Show numerous times. Obviously, I'm not there this year. But the Venetian is one of the hotels that NSSF suggests as a place to stay. And they run shuttles from the Venetian to the facility where SHOT Show is being held.
Paul, I think I don't even think you need a shuttle. I think it's one of the houses adjacent to. I think you can walk from the Venetian to the convention center and stay under cover. In fact, under air conditioning.
The Venetian. Yeah, that could be. It's been 3 or 4 years since I've been to SHOT Show. I suppose that could be.
South Dakota, how about?
Yeah, we're coming right up towards the end, but this one was up yesterday, and I do want to get it today. In 2021, South Dakota sold more than 90,000 guns. Although South Dakota is considered small compared to other states by population, it is one of the top 5 of gun sales per capita. And in 2021, I helped with that. Until 2020, an average of 13.5 million guns were sold in the United States. However, this increased 3 years ago to 2022 to 22 million. When purchasing a gun in South Dakota, state law requires you to go through a background check first. At this point, the article goes decidedly anti-gun. The national database for background checks, which is required to purchase a firearm, right around the 2018 time frame, it was 26 to 28 million checks per year annually, and in 2019, 2020 was upward to 40 million checks per year, said Garrett Master, co-owner of Old Republic Arms. NSSF has estimated that 5.4 million Americans bought a gun for the first time in 2021. We try to suggest, this is from Sturgis Guns, we try to suggest all new gun owners, if they've never been around a firearm before, to take a gun safety course. It's not a requirement, but we do stress that a lot, especially the last few years when gun sales have increased. It's Brock Green at Sturgis Guns. This is what gets me, this last paragraph. With increased gun sales, there's also been an increase in gun deaths. In 2022, there are 44,000 gun deaths related to 44,000 deaths related to gun violence in the U.S. This includes homicide, murder, unintentional death, and suicide. Compared to 2019, before the pandemic, the total is less than 40,000, according to the Gun Violence Archive. I would love to see a comparison of South Dakota numbers, because you know what I'm thinking?
Right. Yeah.
South Dakota numbers are going down, is what I'm thinking.
We could rewrite that headline, but it wouldn't serve their same purpose. During COVID, many jurisdictions released criminals from jail. Shocked citizens bought guns for self-defense. Murder went up, particularly amongst felons released from prison. Crime went up. Gosh, wonder why. It wasn't the new gun owners, it was the criminals you let out of jail. Paul, I need some help from our listeners. I'm going to throw this out. We don't usually do this. Can I buy a long gun out of state?
You can. Illinois residents cannot. California residents cannot. New York residents cannot. If it's legal where you're at and it's legal at home, then you can.
What I was wondering is, I guess what we have to do then is find a bunch of friends and family members of Illinois residents who would take their firearms, because they may just say, you know, I'm going to trade it for a pump shotgun with my relative.
Yeah.
Thinking back to our previous story.
Well,
thank you for having me on.
Yeah, before we go, though, I mean, I've got to do this, dude. In case somebody's tuning into us for the very first time, tell them about the Slow Facts blog and tell them about Self-Defense Gun Stories.
You know, I looked at the numbers today. My Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast had 800,000 downloads. Not this year, that's total. My blog, slowfacts.wordpress.com, had about 600,000. It's taken me years to get there. Those articles are often carried at AmmoLand Shooting Sports News. Paul, it's been great. See you in a couple days.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, thank you for watching. That is going to do it for us today. Tomorrow, as I alluded to as we very first opened, this morning I recorded an interview with John Anderson, and he's got the Get Off My Lawn podcast, and he's with Nebraska Firearms Owners Association. We talked about concealed carry in Nebraska and possibly Nebraska going permitless. That will air tomorrow in this time slot. Friday, Tom Walls will be here, and it's Training Friday, and we do not have a topic yet, but I'm sure we will soon. But do come join us 5 p.m. Central Time on Friday. That's going to do it for me today, and thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you